As promised yesterday when I posted, I was going to do a product review on this spice, two alarm chili kit. Now we're only doing the product review on the spices, not the recipe on the back of the book. And the reason why I want to do this is I know a lot of people that love chili, and to get the proportion of spices correct with the amount of meat and the other things putting into it can be a little difficult, a little time consuming. And this was about I forget what this cost. I think it's like $1.50. This is a couple of years ago. It's been sitting on my shelf in the closet. Totally forgot about it. Come New Year's Eve, we got this all new food going through to try to throw things out. I said, no, this is going to be a great little um, Texas style, what I call um, New Year's Eve 2 or 3 alarm chili. So New Year's Eve we're going to have chili and champagne. So stay tuned for this next important, I guess, video. If you're new to chili, if you don't want to go out and spend all the spices and do all the research, you can just buy a kit like this. On the spices itself, and it's a chili powder. It's got onion, cumin, paprika, red pepper, oregano, garlic powder. It's got all the spices typically that are in a chili, and they're all proportioned for 2 pounds of meat. Now, what I have accumulated in my meat is I have 1.5 pounds of a really good chopped meat, sirloin chop. I put 2 Italian sausages in, hot, and I'm going to put the last sweet in, and I just take them apart. And again, I had these in the freezer. Let's use them up. Why let things go to waste? So first of all, I want to clear this here so I don't catch on fire. I got my camping stove here, and we'll lock it in, and we'll start it. So now we have the pot. All this meat is going to cook up, and we're going to drain the fat. So this will take about 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 minutes, maybe 10, depending on how hot the heat is, and I stir. I'll season with just salt and pepper, and we'll come back so you don't have to sit there and watch beef. It's like watching water boil, right? So stay tuned. The magic of television, the magic of YouTube. You won't miss me. I'll be right back. While the meat is cooking, and it's almost done, I'm going to start cutting up a couple onions. One for the actual chili itself, because we're going to put it in the slow cooker over here. I don't think you can see it. She's warming up. Now I'm not going to put that in there. I'm going to put it small pieces in the slow cooker, and they'll cook over the next couple hours down to some pretty good flavor. The second one I'll be cutting up later, and these very small pieces so we can sprinkle over top the chili. So as we eat it, it's going to be like a hot dog all the way for you Jersey guys. I always like to put onions over top of my chili, some cheese, some sour cream, some scallions, some condiments here. So we're just going to cut these in half. I'm not using the right knife, but what else is new? So you have to make do with what you have. So we're going to cut these up again. I'm feeling a little nervous. This is going to be a really different chili than what I used to do. On one of the videos I did Dad's chili, which is a very mild chili. You can have it in the summer, you can have it in the winter. This one's going to be super spicy. It has to be spicy if you're drinking champagne. What do you think? You have spicy food, then you drink the champagne to cool it down? No. You eat the chili. No, you drink the champagne, and you want to get the chili to taste, the champagne to taste better by eating hot chili. Does that make any sense? Probably not. But then again, the world we live in today, I don't think anything makes sense. So these are pretty rustic cut. Nothing big deal. I just break them up. The slow cooker's on high, so she'll melt down a little bit. And oh, that's browning up nice. Now, I did add some more hot sausage. I wasn't liking the combination, how it came out with the beef, because again, this is going to be a 2 or a 3 alarm chili. And we're going to add those spices. Now, I made sure when I got the Italian sausage, it's just a store-bought Italian sausage. It's not from the butcher shop. There is not a lot of fennel, so you don't taste any fennel in this Italian sausage. And if you're going to put Italian sausage in your chili, I don't know anybody else that does it. I'm probably the only one. You make sure there's no fennel, because then basically you have I don't know what you have. How do you sausage all the way sandwich or sausage and peppers? Now, some of my chili, I put a celery in it, cut up green peppers. We're not going to do it with this one because we're just going to have the onions. We're going to have the hot sausage, the ground beef, and we're going to chop this up pretty good. It will get smaller when we put it into the slow cooker. Okay, so she's ready. Let's turn the fire off, disconnect the heat source so we don't catch a fire. I have to let this settle for a little bit. It's a little too hot for me to pour the fat out. So we're just gonna let it settle for about 5 or 10 minutes. I don't want it blazing hot in here. I want to be able to bring it up slowly again. I want all this to just melt, get that fat in there, just kind of bind with the meat, because you want to add a little fat to the chili, but you don't want a lot. And the best way to do it is you let this cool a little bit. Okay, so we're going to be back in a little bit. Again, I didn't even have to say this because you'll just think it's going to be that fast, but is not that fast. It does take about a half hour to 45 minutes to prep this chili. So let's just cut this right here. I'll make sure my fingers are here so when I come back, it looks like I never even moved. Now that the beef and the pork and the sausage, I should say, is all cooked, I drained it. I got a little bit of fat residual on the meat itself. All I'm doing is just pressing down, getting more of the fat out, and just breaking up some of the larger chunks. It'll automatically, when I put it into the slow cooker, they'll get nice and moist again, and they'll break down. So, I'm going to show you how much grease, after I pour this in the slow cooker, that we actually have. If you could see this, I'm going to pour it into, look at how much grease that does not go in your body when you drain the fat. Also, knowing that there's that much fat, that meat is fantastic. It cooked through in that much fat. We got it out, but now it's all cooking. So we'll just continue and put our attention over to the slow cooker. I'm going to move the camera a little bit because I want you to see the slow cooker and what it looks like, and we'll get some close-ups in a little bit. So now that the meat is in there, we're gonna pour a can of diced tomatoes in there, juice and all, and we'll stir that. I stir as I go. A lot of people just put all the ingredients in and then they wait and they stir, but I like to stir them individually. To me, it's just a little easier for me to judge what other ingredient I need and see if I have enough onions or I have enough this, I have enough that. That looks pretty good. We haven't gotten to this box yet. It's going to come. It's a surprise. All right, so now we're going to put 2 cans of kidney beans in. And wouldn't you know, the lid broke off. So we're going to have to fix that. All right. Typically I'll rinse them, but I'm not going to rinse them this time because I need the moisture. I do need the moisture. We have a lot of meat. So we have 1 can in there. We're going to leave this one out later because, again, I just want to see how much. I think that's enough beans because I have a lot of meat and I have a lot of beans. So we have about approximately 2 to 3 pounds of meat. Now, we're going to go to this. This is it, folks. This is how easy chili is. We're going to open this baby up. Let's see what's. I hope something doesn't jump out on me because it's been on the shelf a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years. But it's all seal packed and the spices should be good. So I got 1 package of spice. I got another package. I don't know what that is. I think that may be the hot stuff. This is what am I going to say? Mesa flour. That you use if you want to thicken up the sauce at the end. All right, so we have, this is cumin for sure. This is, that's chili powder. This is dried onions, so we don't have to put that in. But I'm going to put it in because they said put it in. So the hot spice is this. Nope, here's the red pepper. We put that in later. Okay, so we're going to put 4 packets into that mix. So my scissors here. Now, I forgot to tell you, I do not put dry mix in anything, any dry spice in anything directly. I'm going to use some beef broth, probably around, you see, that's 2, that's 4, that's 6. That's about 8 ounces of beef broth. I know a lot of people put tomato paste in and stuff like that. They want a real tomato base in parts of the country. I kind of put the tomatoes in. And now I'm going to add the beef. Now, a lot of people will use water. Well, let's kick up the flavor. So in goes the chili powder. All right. We've got to give that a stir. That we have to make sure we stir. And it'd be nice if I had this ready, right? So we got the can. See, we don't waste anything. Why bother dirtying in our dish? We're going to recycle this can anyway. So we'll stir it in. And yeah, that's the paprika, that's what I thought. We're going to put that in. That's quite a bit of, this is quite a bit of spices. This may come out after all pretty good. Oh, yeah, that's looking good down there. See, they're wet. This way it's easier to mix with the meat. So you can see it's nicey. This is the cumin, obviously. And it doesn't give the ounces. See, that's the one thing that I wish they put how many tablespoons. I can figure it out by pouring in a tablespoon. But this looks like about 2 tablespoons. But the reason why I'm showing you this is if you don't want to measure everything, you can buy a kit for $1.50, $2, or whatever. I'm going to put the dried onions in because, you know. Oh, this is onions and garlic. Oh, look at that combination. Okay, so everything in the batter. Well, I'm going to have to be, that's a little dry, and I could either add water or more tomato paste, but I'll just add more beef broth to this. And remember, if it gets too moist at the end, I got the corn masa to thicken it up. That is better. That's nice and loose now. It's nice and loose. I should have an overhead camera down, but you'll see when I pour it in, it's going to be nice and liquidy. And she will blend beautiful. See how nice and smooth that is? No lumps, no dryness. I'm going to pour that all in. It looks like almost the same amount of spice that I use in my homemade chili, my dad's chili. But we'll see. It's all about the taste, right? We're just trusting this package that it doesn't have any type of MSG or other products. It doesn't say other products. It doesn't say natural flavorings. It doesn't say salt. It doesn't say anything. It's just natural spices. Okay. Next thing we do is we relax. That's all done. Except I'm going to have to get a special tool to open that. It's my last can of beans. I think I'm going to put it in. We're just going to sit and relax for a couple hours. Let that fine tune. So the chili's been cooking in a slow cooker for a while, and I always taste it every 5, 10, 15 minutes to begin with. I want to see if the spices are melting, if it's chalky, or if there's enough heat. You get a sense. So after about a half hour, I think 45 minutes, something wasn't tasting right. So what I did was, the first thing I always do is, since I use a lot of tomatoes in my other recipes, I didn't do much, I add a little can of tomato paste, and we'll stir that in. And we'll see if that balances out, because it seemed a little off. It didn't seem like the spices were blending. By now, they should be blending really nice. So we're going to add a little more tomato taste. And I'm sure some of you avid chili tasters and eaters are probably thrilled that I add a little more tomato than the beef broth. But this will balance it out. The beef broth will be enough moisture. The tomato paste will add a nice zing to the tomatoes, to the taste of tomato. And it looks better already. Okay, we're going to let that cook another half hour to an hour. We're going to go back and taste it. And if we have to put more spices in it, we're going to put more spices in it. Okay, now, she's been cooking for a couple hours. Here's the taste test. If you can cook a chili on high for 2 hours, you're getting a good indication of really what the taste is going to be. It's not going to vary much after 2 hours. You just cook it longer for more tenderness of the meat. The beans will get more tender, and it's a tiny bit less than what 2 hours of cooking, or I would say a little bit more flavor after 2 hours. We're going to cook this for a total of 6 hours. We're going to turn it down to low, and we're going to cook it until the supper time. Okay, after we'll have it with champagne. So let's give it a taste test. All right, so it looks okay. The sauce is nice and thick. Well, that tomato paste, if your chili's really, really hot and you want to bring the heat down, that tomato paste brought the heat down to nothing. It's not even spicy at all. But remember, we have the spice pack of cayenne pepper in here yet. And I'll probably end up putting in there because I really want this fire hot tonight. So let me give a review because I don't want to keep you here another 7 hours and come back. So this is the two alarm chili kit. We didn't use the recipe on how to follow. It's pretty much the same thing as what we did. The only thing we did different was we added more tomatoes, diced tomatoes, than tomato sauce. What in the world is tomato sauce? Anyway, you have to have some texture with those tomatoes. We added the paste to compensate for that flavor. We added beef broth. The flavor is there. The heat's not there. Is it as good as my dad's chili, the original scratch? No, not even coming close. So I'd probably give this, if we followed the recipe on the back, it'd be flavorless. Honestly, it would be really flavorless. The spices didn't add anything to it. Probably on a scale of 1 to 10, probably about a 6. 6.2 is Dave Barstool does. Rookies gives 6.0, 7.0. Probably a 6.2. Nothing to write home to. But if you want a quick chili and you want the spices already pre-mixed and you can add things and you know how to add things, it ain't too bad. So again, a 6.2. I wouldn't run to the supermarket and find it, but if you're there and you have the need and you don't want to buy 7 different spices for $3, $4 each and throw them on a shelf and do nothing, this is not a bad way to go. Okay, so we're not going to plate it now. We got another 6 hours of cooking. I'm going to have another video on how to plate it, and I'm going to really how to drink champagne and eat and chili all in the same minute. We'll see you then.